We gotta believe. We are live on We Gotta Believe, and we are brought to you by our friends at Coors Light, the Blue Mountains that are made to chill. We're all excited for baseball season. We had the greatest spring training game ever yesterday. However, my friends, I know enough about Mets baseball. You know enough about Mets baseball. Everyone on this panel knows enough about Mets baseball to know it's going to fucking do damage to our souls, and we're going to turn to something that's going to help make us chill, and it is those beautiful mountains at Coors Light. It is the beer that is literally made to chill, cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged. That's what Coors Light is. It is the beer that is literally made to chill. So when I need to take a second for myself, I reach for the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe, BELIEV. That's the name of the show. That's the name of your code, CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And when we're at the parade, we're going to say Coors Light presented this podcast from the spring training and before the season started all the way through the parade after we win in October. Celebrate responsibly.
Cake
Let's
and punch.
go, boys.
Cake and punch.
Cake and punch. So we're back, and we had ourselves a very busy day yesterday. The most violent thing I've ever seen in my life took place on my TV. Jacob Degrom and Max Scherzer going 1-2 against the Cardinals and completely mowing them down because I was sleeping during the slap heard around the world last night. It was
I knew it. Clem is a podfather, of course. There's a small but ever-growing group of beginning. It was just a couple of us as podfathers. And so every now and then when there's a late night, and when I say late night, I mean like 11 o'clock and on, when something happens around 11 p.m., I always kind of check the rounds of Barstool reactions, and I know when there's nothing from Clem that he is snoozing and on like his fifth dream. And we do it most often with Mets games where there's a 15-inning walk-off, good or bad, and I always text Clem, don't look, film yourself, but first thing you do when you wake up, press record because we want to catch your real reaction. I feel like the Jason Vargas one was a big one when I told you that he pitched a gem. That was one of my favorite Clem reactions from Susan. But yeah, sleeping through around the world was quite the moment. But Max and Degrom, I don't know what it's going to be yet. Degrom and Scherzer, Max and Jake, to Scherzer. I don't know. We got to come up with some fucking name for that duo because
Salt
that's
and pepper.
Be the greatest. Salt and pepper, sure. Black and blue. Like Scherzer's eyes are like the two of them together. Like one eye is crazy, one eye's calm, one eye's Jekyll, one eye's Hyde. It's the 1-2 punch that is going to hopefully make my life bearable.
So I don't know about you guys, but yesterday was like the first and only time I can ever remember a spring training game being must watch. It was like I got to see Jacob Degrom. He grows 6 inches every time he's on my TV now. He's like that meme where it's like, if you get enough likes, we'll grow him until he's going to be like the size of the earth. Cause he's more dominant. And then I'm just like, holy shit, this guy is even better. And then he just like, I don't know. He just grows. He's not a short dude. He's never been short, but he's like growing in my mind every time I see him on the mound.
He's also getting hotter. I don't know what's going on, but when he started, he had like his peppermint patty hair. He looked like a fucking Cocker Spaniel. And then he cut it. And then he became a Cy Young winner. And now I look at him and I'm like, this guy is so fucking handsome. This guy is a sex bomb. Got that great smile, great cut. His hands are huge. He looks taller. He's confident on the mound. My man, Jacob Degrom, is a sex icon all of a sudden.
Yeah. And it's spring training for us too as fans, because it's like when there's like, they made contact off Degrom. I'm like, uh-oh. He's losing it. Like they fouled it off. They made like the foul tip. And then let alone if a guy gets a hit, you're just like, what's going on here? And they're like, oh yeah. Like we all know Jacob Degrom only uses half the plate. He threw his like curveball twice in a row and was laughing with Nito when a guy like, they're like, just fucking playing around. They're having fun in spring training. It's preseason for them. So it was just an absolute delight. I imagine Phil, you had a ball too, just laughing at that fucking guy.
Great. Yeah. If that bat lasts longer than 4 pitches, you're like, oh, something's wrong with Jake.
The bar is so high that it's like if he pitches 2 innings, if it's anything less than 5 strikeouts, I'm like, tough outing. Or during the regular season, it's like, 6 innings pitched, 12 Ks, 3 runs. And I'm like, ugh, I don't know, man. He must be hurt. There must be something wrong with the guy. It's unfair to him because the bar is set so fucking high for him. But yeah, just getting to see them like that is, oh my God.
They're the exact same age between Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling when they were in 2004. Oh. So every time I see that, my brain just immediately jumps to that, and I'm like, get me to October. That's all I fucking need. It's already the blueprint. Scherzer's 37, Degrom's 34. It's the exact age gap. We're at the 60th anniversary of the Mets, and we have that same gap from 69 to 86, 2022. I'm like, everything is perfectly aligning in my head where I convince myself every year that they're going to win, but this one just seems like it actually could happen.
Yep. When I didn't know. And baseball's a big math sport too. So when things like that work out, you really do convince yourself, and it's a numbers-driven game.
I didn't realize the same distance between World Series is like, that's some real juju I can start to get behind. Same ages, same gap, 60th anniversary. I'm playing the numbers game. I've got the symmetry going. Ooh, now. No, I don't want to do that. I'm still, listen, I know everyone's a 96er here. I'm still like, we're going to win like 90 games max. I'm not getting ahead of myself, but boy, it's starting to feel it a little bit with these numbers.
And like you just saw that box score yesterday too. And I know a lot of people said it online on Twitter. It was like Jake goes 3 innings, Scherzer goes 6. And like, well, we fixed that whole Jacob Degrom the Mets can't close out games with Jacob Degrom. We just throw Scherzer in there. And it is like a game 7 of the World Series. Yep. And it's like these 2 arms are coming and nobody's doing a fucking thing off of them. So it's for all the stuff, the hopefully 30 plus regular season starts and then having to face those 2 guys, the first 2 guys you see in the playoffs. But if there ever becomes like a must win game, we have 2 nuclear weapons when most other teams only have 1. It's incredible. I could not. My face is numb. Is this what cocaine feels like? I don't know what cocaine feels like, but my face is numb right now.
Clem, you're talking about a game 7 plan. I want this series wrapped up in 5. I don't want to go to a game 7.
Yeah,
I need a game where Jake starts and Scherzer comes in and closes it, and then the next day Jake's good to go. He starts it. Max starts it. Jake closes it. And we don't need to see, imagine like the final 2 games of a series. We don't see anybody but those 2 guys. We need that to become a reality somehow.
Yep. And it's just so different. Again, the Steve Cohen era, we have to think differently. Like, again, we didn't say the name Max Scherzer once when we were talking about free agents because it just wasn't like we don't think like that. We weren't thinking like true big market fans. Finally, we're big market. And that guy, him and Hefner like screaming in the dugout, and the reporters like, "What were you guys talking about?" I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Like it was something normal. I was probably like how to like locate my fastball against lefties, and it's just like that guy's an absolute animal. He's an animal, Max Scherzer.
Which we need, by the way. Like I think I've said this before too. I'm trying to temper my expectations because I actually believe in the early going. I feel like guys like Lindor could clash with guys like Scherzer, but I think we were a little too laid back in like the last couple of years of like, everybody just be happy and then fighting the fans. And it was kind of like, do whatever you want, say whatever you want. We don't really care. I think we could use a guy like Scherzer being like, everybody shut the fuck up and hit the gym, get on the field, practice, play, like all of that, like we need as much of a leader on the field that Jake is. I think we need somebody off the field and in the locker room with their voice. And it's a guy like Max.
Yeah, Max is the shut the fuck up Frank guy. He's like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, beautiful. I love it. Shut the fuck up, Frank.
Yep.
I'll never compare myself to Jacob Degrom in any aspect of my life, but I am definitely a little more Jake, a little more quiet. Kevin is the loud one of the podcast.
Yep.
We'll get in someone's face. I'll just kind of like subtweet Frank or fuck with him. There we go. Perfectly balanced. Perfectly balanced.
I want everybody, somebody go to our YouTube, to our Apple, to our Spotify, change the description of the podcast, change it to the Degrom and Scherzer of Mets podcasts. That's me and Clem right here. Let's fucking alley-oop this shit, dude. Take it all the way to the Canyon of Heroes. Let's go.
And we got a great new addition in Phil. We got Chris Bassett looking good right here. All right, so so we got Bassett looking good. Walker was looking good as well. are we worried about Cookie Carrasco now? Like, do I even say the name Cookie? Do I have to just remove that from the vernacular altogether?
I wanted to. I'm happy you brought this up. I wanted to go back. Last episode, we talked about who on the Mets do we think we're going to hate, and I said Canna. I almost forgot about Cookie Carrasco. That guy is going to absolutely stink. We're going to get 0 from him. Again, I hope he proves me wrong, but I could see that guy being
Oh, we lost Kev for a sec there.
Oh, yeah.
How are you feeling about Carrasco?
Just don't tell him it's the first inning.
Yeah, I know. It's like somehow that's all that matters to him. I would say I'm not going to put any stock into preseason spring training numbers, good or bad, but Cookie Carrasco is going to be that dude for the pitching staff that I just absolutely loathe.
So he said it's like he has a new elbow, and I'm just looking at him like he's a new pitcher. I'm like, wipe the slate. You're good. And I'll be like, oh, it was nice. We picked up this guy. Otherwise, if he's the same or even like a fraction of that first inning guy, this is what I hated about Steven Matz. As much as you could defend him because he was a lefty and everything, and the same to a lesser extent, Zach Wheeler. Those guys come in and fucking suck in 2 innings, and they blow out your entire bullpen for the series. And it's like, you didn't just fuck us for this game. You just screwed us up for the next 3 games moving forward because you just wasted everybody's arms. I'm like, you can suck, but suck for 5 innings. Just be manageable. If we're going to have 1 loss, just fucking stay out there and get shellacked. I don't care if you lose 1 game. Don't ruin the entire series just because you can't figure it out. That's where, if you figure it out for 5 innings, I don't care. We'll lose 1 game.
You know what Cookie need? Well, Carrasco needed. He needed to have a new jersey number this year. Just have a complete fresh start. Someone should have brought that idea up to him.
That's a great call.
He needs forget about a jersey. We got to do Travolta, Nick Cage face off. He needs a new face. We need a whole new Carrasco to come in.
So I'd be remiss. Kyle just mentioned his name. We'll do our Steven Matz updates every so often, whenever I feel is necessary. Steven Matz on Saturday when he started, 2/3 of an inning, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 1 strikeout, and 1 home run. And they had the Statcast, and there's a whole lot of red on all the fucking balls off the bat in terms of how fast they were hit. Thank you, Steven. Again, hashtag thank you, Steven, for everything he's done by not signing the contract here, clogging up whatever money Steve Cohen was going to blow through the luxury tax anyway, and also pissing him off, which then ensured the shopping spree we got, last winter. So thank you, Steven, Sven, Steven Matz, whatever the fuck you are. You are the fucking, honestly, where do you rank Steven Matz now? If Uncle Stevie's spending spree is because of that shitty agent he has, is Matz the only behind Jacob Degrom in terms of that generation of pitchers, in terms of his importance in Mets history?
He may be the best signing in Mets history behind Carlos Beltran, maybe, if we're being honest. The best, the fact he signed to another team is what I'm saying. Most influential signing.
Yeah.
It's weird too, because I don't have a problem with him. We loved him in the early going, and we had fun moments with him. And then he just sucked, and it's no offense, nothing personal. Just get the fuck out of my life, man. He's a good candidate for get the fuck off my team. Where it's just if I saw you out, I'd love to have a beer with you and your grandpa, but don't ever pitch for my team ever again.
Let's say we win, and then they have the replica ring for the fans. I see Stevie mailing that to his agent.
Yeah.
Here you go. Thanks, bud.
Yep. Again, we'll see about McGill, Walker, all those kind of guys. With pitching, it's kind of with the bullpen, the starters that we have in the back end, the starters in the front end, I couldn't be more convinced they're going to be fine as long as everyone's healthy. The back end, I have no fucking clue what's going to happen. You're just going to, pray, and that'll be something we're recapping as the season starts, right? I feel like that's kind of just how it goes. But our guy, Francisco Lindor, the Lindorks must be in their feelings right now because he is fucking crushing. 2 homers yesterday, a double as well, right? Still fucking putting up the Gold Glove defense, looking awesome. Now, he did look good last spring as well, so it's not like he's perfect, but I don't know, boys. Are we going to start dreaming big for Francisco Lindor again? Because why the fuck not? If you're paying this guy the money, I feel like he needs to be you need to believe that he's gonna put up the fucking numbers just to shut up all the Frank the Tanks, all the Lindorks of the world, and just get ready for a big season here. So, Kev, are you ready to fucking stunt on the Lindorks again like we did all last season?
Oh yeah, no. Like, here's the thing: the Lindorks, that was not just a one season thing. That was like you guys made your bed, and I remember thinking this for both Cohen and Lindor. Like, you guys have made your bed for the next 10 years for Lindor. You decided that because he had a bad couple months, you were jumping ship on our franchise shortstop for the next decade. And so, no, when it's 22, 23, 24, 25, when we're on the parade, when he's winning awards, like, no, you were so, and I'm talking about the extreme assholes, Frank, the people who were like so adamant. If it was, when it was like Labor Day or June, or we're talking All-Star break, and he was still garbage, and you might have said to yourself, like, damn, man, like, Lindor's having an awful year. That's fine. That's like, you're allowed to talk about when players are bad. But the people who act like the signing was a bust, he's a bust, it's over, we should have done this, we should have done that, you don't get to come back. For me, that's a one-way street. Like, you cross that line, we're gonna make fun of you for the fuck till the end of time when he's out here raking. And I don't put numbers, I don't put stock in spring training numbers, but what I do put stock in is like the positivity and the atmosphere. And like, if he was having a bad spring, I would be like, oh man, like, he's probably down on himself, he's starting to question things. The fact that he's just out there playing, his kid is born, his family's set, he's easing in, there's some other guys now to take off the pressure a little bit. We'll still have to figure out what goes on with the broadcast booth and the media and all that shit. That's yet to be written. But the fact that he is, again, put it into your own terms. Like, if you were about to go do something big for Barstool, and in the weeks leading up to it, you were like, oh man, I'm really killing the blog game, or I'm really like on fire on the podcast, or the dozen. It's like, we're not in postseason play yet, but if you're answering all your questions on the dozen, you'd be like, all right, let's fucking go. And so, no, I'm not going to say that spring training numbers means, it's all going to translate, but I think it's a good sign that we're headed the right way. Because if he comes in loose and happy and ready to ball, I think that's part of the problem is, when you start pressing when you're playing bad like he was last year. So I'm ready to be like, again, leading the charge. Fuck the Lindorks, and I will be petty. I will search old tweets. I will expose you. I will find you. Everyone who talks shit and jump ship too early, you will pay the price. And I'm going to send it right now. I got to send my daily Bill James tweet where I take 5. I get apologized, but I will continue this crusade for my guys until justice is served.
And this is what I'm going to ask. So, like, I think we're at the point now with the Lindorks, with the Mets fans who are very negative, and we're, bruised from the Wilpons era, all that kind of stuff. Everyone has their scars. We all wear them every single fucking day of our lives. Just let this be the time where you can embrace Francisco Lindor. Do not make him the next Carlos Beltran. Right. Where, like, once he leaves, we're like, man, I wish we appreciated that guy more. And, like, Beltran was very similar where, like, he always played good defense. His batting average, wasn't always, like, through the roof, but all, like, the smart numbers told you, this guy's a good fucking player. And granted, like, Lindor was a nightmare through May last year. I'm not going to even defend that. But, like, let's all just take a time to come together as a fan base and rally around this guy. Because, like, Kev, if he was slumping in spring training, everyone would be jumping ship right now. But the fact he's hot, let's just take this moment to unite. I say at the opening day gala, which is a week and a half away, right? Mm-hmm.
Next Thursday.
We take our Coors Lights and we baptize ourselves. We wash away all the original sin. We're washing away the Wilpons sin. And everybody get your Coors Lights at home. Responsibly douse your head with the blue mountain. Sure, the mountains are blue. So it's truly getting to the core of like your Mets fandom soul. And we just wash it away and we go through this journey together. Because this is a very important time in Mets history. This is the beginning of dynasty. This is the next great franchise. I don't want everyone living in the past of one weird, shitty year where COVID was still kind of around. Francisco Lindor moving to a new city, big contract, tough fan base, tough media. Let's just all get on this ride together. Except for Bill James. Fuck you, Bill James. You're not allowed.
If there's one thing to take away, too, I don't want to give too much credit or put too much blame to the fucking asshole fans of the world. But in this era of social media and direct contact with players, like it or not, you, as a fan, like, affect the team. and we saw it last year with the thumbs down. Like, you can reach players and you can access them. And you, as a Mets fan, can decide, am I going to be a fucking asshole who accesses them and attacks them in a bad way and makes more of a problem and fractures the locker room and gives guys, mental problems and fights on, creates drama for the media and is a literal negative impact, a net negative for the team? Or are you going to use that to help? And I know, some people always tell me, oh, you were the most negative fan out there. It's glass houses. Like, there's a difference, I think, between A, the Wilpons era and past Mets teams versus this one, and B, criticizing or talking about the bad play versus just like constantly berating and harassing and using it for your own clicks and follows and all that sort of shit. So you have a choice, and it's actually one that, way more so than in the years gone by where everyone just picked up the phone and called WFAN to yell for a little bit. Now it's like, I'm tweeting you, I'm DMing you. We're seeing, you're trending, you're viral. You see all these retweets. It gets put on your timeline. You can't escape the fans. And so there's always going to be negative fans, but I just make the choice to be the positive one. And it doesn't mean you have to, they can do no wrong. It doesn't mean they're above criticism. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be times where you can make fun of guys for, a dildo in their locker room or an error in the field. Or there's going to be moments where you're like, holy shit, these fucking assholes did X, Y, Z, or what a jerk off because he did this. That's part of the game. But the never ending fucking avalanche and waterfall of constant negativity that is like out of their hands or not, they can't control. Like, just, we know now that actually can affect teams. So don't fucking do it, Don't. It's like, did you see this, the banana ball that the like single A or whatever league it is?
Yeah,
bananas.
If the fans catch the ball in a foul play on a foul pop-up, it's actually an out. It's like that. It's like, we're actually a part of this and can affect it. So do good. Use your powers for good, not evil.
Yeah,
I'm so quick to jump off of the Lindor train right away too. Like,
quick.
I'm ready to die on that hill. As soon as we signed him, I tweeted, I think he's going to have more of a significant impact on the Mets than Cole will with the Yankees. That was before the sticky stuff, so now it's already like working in my favor anyway. But like, this is year one of a fucking.
It was month one of year one. It was crazy how quick they jumped.
In the second half, like, yeah, his numbers didn't turn out well, but he was like digging. He was digging out of a grave essentially for like the rest of the season. When you have that slow of a start, and like, I always harp on the fact that like the numbers always even out. Like, you can't be that bad for that long. And then our offense didn't hit with runners in scoring position all season, so it wasn't a turnout. But like, that can't continue if you already have proven that you're like an all-star caliber player.
Right.
That's the thing. And he just had so many off the field things. Like, he's finally relaxed. He has his idea of who's in the clubhouse and who he has to be for the team. That's a huge thing that people overlook all the time.
Yeah. And I like, again, I don't want to harp on this. We've talked about it enough. And I do think that once the season starts, it's just going to be chaos because that's how baseball rolls. But like, let's all just try to, like, for at least the beginning of the season, try to just unite together. The enemies, we are not each other's enemies. The enemies are the Philly fans, the Brave fans. The Brave fans are in their fucking, basket. Right? They're in their bag right now because they have a World Series. They can talk a lot of shit against us right now. The whatever Nationals fans still exist, Yankees fans, they're always the enemy. Let's unite and like try to get behind our fucking guys that are out there playing with our team's name on their chest instead of, the other teams. Because then it's like, that's the thing is a lot of times, again, to bring up Frank, but all the people that are retweeting Frank or gassing him up, you go to their profiles. It's all Yankees fans, Braves fans, Phillies fans. I just want a united front here. I want a united front for the fucking war that is baseball season. Because it's been a long time since we've had a normal season. It weighs you down. We all know this. 2019, I'd say, is the last time it felt real and normal. It's going to be a lot. And like it says here in the rundown, Seth Lugo says he's been with the Mets for 12 years, and it feels like an entirely new organization. The fact that if Lugo's saying that, like, let's bring it from the fan side of things. And, this is coming from the fans who were, every time we would have a podcast, it would just end to us bitching about the Wilpons. We no longer have to do that. So let's try to fucking,
keep that in mind,
turn it
folks.
around.
It was a lot fucking worse back in the day.
Yeah. So back that, $8 billion fucking shortstop with a beautiful smile. He's a lot to love about the guy. And then obviously his double play mate is, talking about slaps here. We got Jeff McNeil.
So a little slap hitting yesterday.
Little slap hitting yesterday. I mean, he looks like Jeff McNeil again. I don't know what the fuck last season was, but they said I think he was pulling a lot more last year, and you don't know in terms of his 2 shitty hitting coaches he had, any kind of injury stuff, whatever the hell was going on. It was an absolute nightmare. I feel like out of everyone, if you were to pick one guy to have a big bounce back year, it's either him or Dom. I think they're both going to be sick though. And with our we need left-handed bats in this lineup the way it's looking now, with Robinson Cano's bum ass being like our big left-handed power bat. I'll gladly take Jeff McNeil. Not as many home runs when they were, again, as baseball fans, you have to remember they were juicing the balls and then they weren't juicing the balls. Everything has changed so much. I feel like McNeil's not going to be the power hitter he looked like that one season in 19, but I do think he's going to be able to hit for average. And if he could just not complain when people are shifting, everything is going to be fine.
What we need is Diddy to step in and mediate this thing and get these two back on the same page, because that's what worries me. The same way that Will Smith and Chris Rock have supposedly squashed this beef and are friends now because Diddy said at the party they had a good time. Everyone lives their own life. Everyone knows how the world works, right? And if you have a open, argument, fight, scuffle in the clubhouse, you're not going to just drop it and forget about it altogether. Enough time has gone by that maybe they are, better, but I just hope that it can be real, because nothing can really derail a season like that, And it's the one fucking place besides a catcher and pitcher battery. It's the one situation on the field where you really do need chemistry and things to flow together. And I'm always kind of worried about that just because Lindor is like a fucking magician and McNeil is just kind of, a white guy who slap hits the ball, is out there playing as well. It's not exactly like, the best double play combo, but that I'm almost like he can't hit that way again. It's probable that we'll see him bounce back with his play on the field. I just hope that it's off the field that, we at least have smoothed over or made amends, or it's just like we're not best friends, but we know how to operate. Because that I just still worry that that Lindor is a little bit like, it's not like he's an egomaniac, but it's just like he definitely has his ego and worries about what people think and what people say and how it all works. And, it can just be a little bit of a house of cards in that situation. So that we need to focus on, I think.
I don't need them to go out to dinner games. I just need them to be acquaintances. Just be
what we need?
People to work with that you don't necessarily friends with. You just need to say, hey, how you doing? Good morning. Good hit, good game. Way to drive that guy in. That's all I need. Minimal communication. Oh, you're going to cover second base? Yep, sounds good. The end.
What we need, and now it's allowed, is we need Keith Hernandez to go down there and explain how in 1986 there were guys who fucking hated each other and they came together to be one of the greatest teams ever, because now that Keith is allowed on the field during batting practice and around the team. I mean, I never really put that together. Was everybody aware of that already, that there was a ban against Keith? Was that well known or no?
No,
I didn't know about it. Yeah.
I always thought that he would actually, because there was times where he'd meet with Judah or whatever, and I'm like, oh, it's nice they're using Keith, but I didn't realize there was that kind of aggression or
if you don't know the story, it was basically revealed that Keith had been banned from ever being on the field during batting practice and infield, because what was weird was they said that other coaches, the other managers, felt like what's the word? Inferior. And they felt like, we can't have Keith around because he'll one up me. But it's obviously spanned multiple managers. You know what I mean? If there was if we had one manager for the last 15 years and he had problems with Keith, I would get it. But every single time there was a new manager and a new set of bench coaches and this coach and that coach, they all had a problem with Keith. So that leads me to think it was more of a Wilpons thing. And the fact that our pride and joy, Keith Hernandez, was not allowed near the team, and he's the type of guy who does teach well and teach you about the glove and the old school way of playing and all that shit. That's the kind of guy that I think you know, he should be a fucking manager. He should be a coach. He should be a bench coach / color analyst. And that would be like perfect blend, because he is the kind of guy who could, I think, explain to Lindor and McNeil. The only thing that gets me a little scared is I think he's the type of guy who would tell Lindor to fuck off.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not a good idea. But.
And Keith, so the story said to Rabila, so the quote was like, he's like, Hernandez, he said, keeping me out was something the old Mets regime did. Which regime I think we could think is Wilpons, because we had fucking new managers like every 2 or 3 years, it seems. The last time I was allowed near the field was 2000 when Bobby Valentine had me working with Todd Zeal at first base. But since then, I felt there was an insecurity from the coaches. They didn't want me around, almost like they felt threatened, like I didn't want to get back in uniform. So, I mean, take it as you will. But then Buck has Keith come in the golf cart and is like, I want you to know that I'm letting everyone know that you're being seen with me here. And he's like, you're fucking Keith Hernandez. Like that's like the Seinfeld line, right? I'm fucking Keith Hernandez. So it's like, it's crazy. It's the Knicks do the same thing with Clyde Frazier. There he is, smoking the butts in the dugout. Exactly.
You're going to tell this guy that he can't be around your baseball team? Are you out of your fucking mind? I'm actually going to see if we can get it back on sale. We had the I'm Keith Hernandez shirt with this picture of him smoking, and it was the greatest shirt of all time. I'm going to see if we can put that one back on sale. I also am going to see if we can put we can re-release the Death Row source cover with Snoop, Tupac, Dre, and everybody with the Mets faces. We have to take out one person who had a cease and desist sent our way, but only one guy had a problem, and I can slide in Uncle Stevie Cohen, who doesn't seem to have any sort of issue with us. So
one Cohen for another. That's a fair trade, right? One Cohen for another.
I mean, listen, one's a net negative, one's certainly a net positive right now. So, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, we're going to see what we can do, release it. Maybe we could put it on the sports book with the 96ers bet. We're going to try to figure out what we can do for you guys out there. I know that was a shirt that everyone is bummed they missed out on. So we'll try to get it out there for you guys. That is a We Gotta Believe promise. I did want to touch on this. Starling Marte playing right field now, which, I mean, he covered that fucking, I don't know if you guys saw that fly ball he covered. It was like 1,000 feet in like a minute. It was in a second. It was incredible. Are we ready to have Brandon Nimmo play center field for us again? And listen, he was much better last year. He like they had him playing back deeper, and he actually has a year under his belt.
Still,
but do we still want to see Brandon Nimmo back?
The main thing I was excited about was I was like, we finally just have a center fielder. We don't know how good he's going to be. We don't know how healthy he'll stay. But it was just like when you asked the question, who is the Mets center fielder? You just had a real answer for a change the first time since Beltran. And it's like, well, maybe not. Maybe not now. I at the end of the day, if everybody fits in their spot and plays well, who cares? But that was kind of the nice part about that signing, a little extra bonus for the fans to be like, we got our guy.
And maybe there'll be some days where like Marte will be in center, Nell will be in right, or like when one of them is out of lineup, one will be in center, the other will be like taking a day off. Mm-hmm. I think that stuff will sort itself out over 162. That's why I don't really want to look too much into that. I mean, at least Marte has a good arm in right field, so I mean that's a positive.
This isn't a situation either where it was like A-Rod had to move to third because that was Jeter's spot and everybody knew it. It's like Nimmo's just been there and every fan's been like, why the fuck is Magellan running that route to a ball to run straight to the fence every single time?
Yeah.
He has gotten much better. I will give him that 1,000%. But like every time those rankings came out, it never even made sense to me. He'd be like, top 10 center fielder. And I'm like, holy shit, does the whole league just have a problem with center and we just think it's us?
Yeah.
Him on that list, Starling Marte. So
yeah.
And he is getting older though. Marte, everyone's getting old technically, but Marte's getting older, and I don't know. Like if Nimmo goes down, or you could switch guys in and out depending on matchups or whatever. I don't know how much that would really make sense on defense, but it's like in Buck we trust. If Buck wants to put him in right, wants to put him in center, wherever the fuck he wants to put him, or that nerd who was probably having the whoever.
Oh my God. Zosmer, he was having the time of his life with the Oscars last night. Yeah.
He probably is the only person who doesn't want to talk about the Will Smith slap. He's like, I just want to talk about Will Smith winning Best Actor. He was minus 150. I can't believe it. I told you guys. I fucking love that kid. If he tells me Starling Marte should play in right, should play fucking third catcher, I don't care. I believe in that fucking guy. That guy, in him we trust more than anybody else. And like I said, we bolted up the middle here. And if we had done this podcast on Saturday instead of Monday, the first fucking order of business would have been talking about the new Frank the Tank of New York Mets. Francisco Alvarez, I am taking your name, Fleming. Frank Fleming. Your name is Franklin Fleming. That's who you are. And Frank the Tank goes to Francisco Alvarez, 5'10", 240 pounds of catcher hitting monstrosity.
Bro, he is a literal brick. Like if you were to just put like arms and legs out of a brick, it would be that. He is a fucking tank. And when you see him blast the ball out of the fucking to the moon, it's like, oh, I could get down with this. Frank is I just wish he wasn't. I wish he was a little bit older because I'd be like, let's come on, rush him. Like he's good, he's fine. He's still so young.
He can't even drink yet.
I know, it's
He's
crazy.
20.
It's like, why are you fat like that, man? You've been drinking milk, you've been eating cheese. Why are you a brick shit house, man? Frankie's coming though. Frankie's gonna be a deal. Like he could be I don't know what kind of guy he is yet, but with that build, and if his talent shakes out and being catcher and all that shit, he could be a star. A star.
He has the hair. He just has the swagger about him. The fucking chain. The chain is just bobbing as he's
It's
running
like
around
Bartolo, but instead of being like a funny gimmick, it's like he's a top prospect.
Yeah, it's incredible. And just to let you guys know where he stands right now, Papa Clem brought him up to me. Like, oh no, he's like, this kid Alvarez, I don't know. Like, can we start him opening day? I'm like, Dad, he's 20 years old.
20, dude.
And I'm like, listen, like if you're an outfielder or whatever, I was like, he's gonna have Jacob Degrom and Max Scherzer. He's got to call their games. Like, you can't just do that with a veteran team. Be like, hey, there's 20-year-olds behind the plate calling games for fucking big leaguers who've been around forever.
Yo, put it this way. He is closer, right? He's closer to like Sienna's age than your age, right?
Oh yeah, and fucking Shay's age and your age.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah.
I should explain it to my dad though. Yeah, I should explain it to my dad.
When you realize that it would technically be more appropriate for Frank Alvarez to hang out with my kids than it would be to hang out with me. That's a fucking problem. Like I could see him like sitting down and being like, "Oh, Bubble Guppies. My favorite's Dima. Who's your favorite?" It's crazy how young these kids are. Man.
Oh yeah, like they could definitely have more conversations about whatever is pop culture. Because like I'm too young, I'm too old for SpongeBob. I missed the whole SpongeBob thing. They probably could talk SpongeBob, and I'd just be completely lost in the conversation.
Frank Alvarez and those guys, they don't know who like Will Smith and Chris Rock are. They're like, who are those two guys last night? Slapped each other. I don't fucking know. Oh, which brings us to, by the way, last night there was a few nights where I feel this surge of power and pride of having cable while everyone else has a delay. And I think on the last one standing, just drunk with linear cable power, where I am seeing things 10 seconds before you. I'm basically seeing it live, and it feels glorious. And when there's a big home run and I can get my tweet off before you, it feels glorious. I have everything else, but I have my cable because I just can't be even 10 seconds behind. I saw that slap in real time while Clem was sleeping, but he probably could have woke up an hour later and his streaming would just have it in that moment. So I'm all about watching my games on SNY, on cable, in real time. And April 8th, the big return of Max to DC, our first start. We're watching on Apple TV with no like you can do Apple TV. Go ahead, but also do SNY. It drives me fucking nuts. You know, we say you got to grow the game and get onto the internet, and this is not what we're talking about, bro. Saying let us tweet videos. You don't need to stream the biggest games on just Apple TV. If you want to do that, fine. You can put every game on Apple TV, on YouTube, on Facebook. I don't give a shit. But just give us SNY or invite Gary, Keith, and Ron to do the Apple broadcast. But this is like they're trying to do like new age things, but they're doing the wrong ones and they're fucking it up.
Now, yeah, like say this Apple TV deal had, instead of going to Apple TV, it went to Barstool, and you're going to throw us idiots in there, right? And we're going to just do like a Manning cast kind where it's a little more, much more rough around the edges. I'd still be like, yeah, throw Gary, Keith, and Ron in there. Well, because when they're like, these fucking idiots don't know anything. And who are even the announcers? Like, who are the national announcers?
Well, that's the thing. Like, if Barstool did it, you could make the argument, we're trying to do something different here where you see regular guys who are going to curse and fuck around and goof off the way that we do, like our live streams and do this podcast. Apple TV, have guys, So it's like you can do the broadcast and we could use your graphics and your interface and your stream and all that, but you're gonna need announcers. So just get our announcers, because who they don't even have a connection to, if it was like Time Warner has like the TBS guys and the TNT guys, like there's no connection to anybody. So I don't know who's going to broadcast it. It's going to be garbage. And I say we do a live stream that night.
All right. Yeah, we'll do a live. We'll have to do it like in the same house or something, because I'm going to be 10 minutes behind.
Yeah, that's right. You fucking broke with no cable. We can't do it.
Guess what? I can do it on my TV. You're the one who has to download an app, because this is on Apple TV, motherfucker. I'm living in the future. You're living in you're getting jiggy with it with Will Smith, Biggie Willie style back in the 90s right now. You're going fucking, I'm digital. You're analog still. But it is one of those things. It sucks. Again, Papa Clem, I'm just like, Dad, don't worry about game 2. I'll let you know how Scherzer looks. Right. I'll send you the highlight. I'm not even going to try. Like, I fear for the amount of older people, like all of our parents who want to watch Thursday Night Football and Amazon has it on. It's going to be impossible. It's like, I can't even start.
To explain to my mom that Apple is broadcasting the Mets, she'll be like, what? Don't they make iPhones? Like, yeah, but they also have a TV thing. It's going to be a disaster.
And I'm going to set up my TV like that day too. And just like right before I head out for the house, I'd be like, oh yeah, like, let me set up the Apple TV for you to watch the game later. Be like, what's that? And it's gonna be like a whole mess.
Nightmare. I usually say I want to say like 10 times a year for no reason other than I just love them. I'll just listen to a game and I'll put on Howie just because. Sometimes it's like I'm in the car driving for the first half of the game and I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'll just finish it off, put it on the app or however I can listen to it. That April 8th might be a good Howie day. And if we do a stream, it'll be a good Gotta Believe day. Everybody tune into that. Yep. But if not, it's a good radio day.
For sure.
For sure.
And then wait, Kyle, do you have something to say?
I was saying it's almost like the YouTube games, but now it's always, even when the Mets suck, we always get fucked over with this because there's always some crazy side story or one of or Degrom's pitching, whatever it is, where you look at the schedule, you see what games we're already getting screwed over on, and then they have these flex games where it gets taken up every single time, and it's always the Mets. It's either the Mets suck and they're playing somebody who's good and that's the draw, or it's us because it's Scherzer, he's returning to Washington. It would be one thing if Apple shells out the money to be like, okay, let's make sure for every Friday broadcast we have somebody that's an alumni of the old team. That would be like a cool
that'd be cool
thing to do.
Yeah.
You know what it's going to be, though? It's going to be like 2 generic dudes that couldn't get like a Fox or an ESPN contract, and now Apple's just like, oh, we'll give you $5 million to do a Friday night game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then they give you the same over and over again because they don't know about the teams.
Yeah.
Insane.
So, and then Apple TV, I know enough about Apple TV when I had Ted Lasso. It's just the interface sucks. It's going to be confusing as fuck. Yeah. I'm sure they're going to plaster it up there. I'm pretty sure the big one was a YouTube game a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. That was a YouTube game, and that ended our season. That was the big one with Edwin Diaz.
On the West Coast?
No, I remember it was the day after the big one that was a YouTube game for us. I remember I was watching that like right before one of my classes when I was in college, Look, I have no issue with the YouTube games. YouTube games, you literally just put it in your browser, you hit play, it's easy. Apple, I'm going to like set up a whole account and everything, and that's going to be a pain in the ass.
And that's the youngest guy on the podcast saying that, for the record. So it's not just the old watch the dads here. The young guy on the podcast is saying that too. So we're not on our own. We're gonna wrap things up for the week. For the day. I got a trivia. I threw a trivia. I didn't know if Phil was gonna be in, so I picked a player. Got a trivia. So we're gonna start this off here. First hint: this New York Met was on the 2000 Mets and had 18 home runs, 69 RBIs, and a 266 batting average. Outfielder, and I'll give you the position too.
Joe McEwing.
Nope.
No. Timo didn't have that power, did he? He said 2000 Mets?
2000 Mets. Not Timo.
This should be easy. Meek, I'm surprised you didn't know this right away.
Benny Agbayani.
This is 2000. Okay. It's a little before my time.
So I said that hoping someone would say Benny Agbayani. Incorrect. Next hint here. He was traded to the Mets along with Mike Hampton for Kyle Kessel, Roger Cedeno, and Octavio Dotel. Okay, all right. Pick him up. It's crazy that this guy. So all right, and so okay. Last hint here. By the way, the 2000 Mets was the only year he was with the Mets, which I could not believe when I saw this. The third and final hint here. When he was with the Pittsburgh Pirates, the next season he started a process called Operation Shutdown, where he refused to play for the Pirates and lived on his boat.
Oh, Derek Bell.
Derek Bell. You guys know I love Derek Bell. Operation Shutdown. Operation Shutdown feels like a 2022 thing than a 2001
I
thing,
forgot
right?
about Operation Shutdown. And the boat. He is one of my all-time favorites. I'm so mad it took me to the boat to get to it. The boat and the marina is one of the all-time, like, cockiest. Makes me think of was it Lethal Weapon when Mel Gibson lives on a boat and he's just a bachelor who like fucks chicks and there's bottles everywhere and shit. Like that guy was just a ball player who was like, how can I live like short of living in the stadium? How can I get as close to the field as that? It's Derek Bell on a boat.
He lived like a pirate for the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's the most incredible thing I've ever heard in my life. And he had that huge mustache. I always liked Derek Bell. He was part of like the Killer Bees, I feel, down in Houston. By the way, Derek Bell's stats, his career high in home runs was 22. He had 22, 21, and then 18 with us. Like I thought he was more of a power hitter than that. Yeah. He
was a nice little piece though for that team. Like he was. You know, he wasn't like I remember not having a problem with him being like, he's a good player. I'm happy to have him.
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, him, Agbayani, and Payne were our outfielders, and then obviously Timo was kind of the fourth guy there. But I'm shocked. Like Derek Bell, I thought he was with the team for maybe an extra year or so. I never realized he was just a one and done. Yeah. And I always thought he was like a little better than he was.
It's funny when you think about that. Like I think Olrud's one of those guys who I thought was like with the Mets for so long. I think it was like 3 seasons or some shit. Like you fall in love with a guy and you convince yourself that he's, part of your team. And it's like, oh no, he was like a half a year rental. What are you talking about?
Yeah, 3 years was all Olrud was with the Mets. And granted, one of those years he batted 354. He was my favorite Met in that era. I love that guy.
But Derek Bell, the Walrus, he's an all-timer, man. Shout out to the boat.
Shout out to the boat.
He's not the GOAT, he's the boat.
So we'll see you guys next. Oh, and I had to just shout this out at the end of the podcast just because he's in Philadelphia now. Nick Castellanos, yet again. Fucking doing what he does, which I believe it was a Toronto Blue Jays announcer was like apologizing for a DUI arrest he had. And as he's doing that, Castellanos gets his first base hit as a Philly. Just pure, like this guy would have ruined, if not the Mets franchise, all of like New York City. Because like the amount of fucking skeletons that would come out of the closet because that guy's here and he's going to have a hit, have a home run in a big moment. It was an absolute blessing in disguise. We did not get Castellanos. I wish he wasn't in Philadelphia, but I kind of love he's in Philadelphia because bad shit's going to happen now. Like the Rocky statue is going to let him fire.
It's not quite the level of the others, but it is like, man.
Yeah, no, this announcer was trying to like will it into existence. He was going on for like over a minute of like their pitching coach a DUI. Yeah, it's like, and someone's gonna like start reading obituaries or something if it went like 8 more pitches. Like he really wanted it to happen.
He's in a slump, and they just read down the list of obituaries for people like,
we're gonna catch him eventually. We're gonna get one of these.
I saw last night after the slap was, I know somewhere Nick Castellanos just hit a monster home run.
So, I mean, that's another like storyline for the season, and we play the Phillies enough times. We'll be seeing a lot of Nick Castellanos in our life, and I'll be holding my breath the entire time, especially with Gary. With Keith, too. Keith on a live mic always scares me, right? So, shout out to Keith being back in the mix where he should be on the field. I know the Knicks kind of do the same thing with Clyde Frazier, where he's like, I've never been asked to help out with the team. And it's like, you are the only good point guard we've had. We haven't had a point guard since you, basically, Clyde. Strickland and Mark Jackson for like a year. But other than that, we'll see you guys at the end of the week, and we'll recap whatever's going on now. So drink your Coors Lights, get ready, and Gala's coming up in 10 days. So we're almost there. That Luis Castillo motherfucking bobblehead. I'm going to eat that live on the fucking there you go. That you want to do that? We'll do that live at the Gala. I'll eat
I'm going to eat the bobblehead.
I hate that fucking thing so much.
You got
see you guys later this week. Gotta believe.
God believe.